are the characteristics that of an inclusive leader, and why is it so important to Walmart's leaders of today, and then the future leaders of tomorrow? What's the company doing to help identify and develop inclusive leaders?
Yeah, so we actually have a something we call inclusive education curriculum. So we literally have curated and developed content for leaders, so that they actually become focused on this notion of inclusion in the way that they lead. And our officers actually have a requirement to take these courses to become more and more inclusive in their approach of leading. Um, I'll tell you, we have spent a lot of time working with Deloitte Consulting, and Deloitte Consulting has what I think is one of the best models of inclusive leadership. And they have 6 signature traits, and they're called the 6 C's of what inclusive leaders are all about. The first one is this notion of curiosity, because different ideas and experiences enable growth in each and every one of us. The second C is cultural intelligence, because not everyone sees the world through the same lens. The third one is this notion of collaboration, because diverse thinking teams are greater than the sum of their parts. The fourth one is commitment, because the work is hard, and you've got to be committed to doing the work. The fifth one is courage, because talking about our imperfections actually, there's personal risk in doing that. And then the sixth one is this notion of cognizance, because bias is every leader's Achilles heel. We purposely, Cody, we tried to move away from a compliance approach to doing D&I to a neuroscience and a social science approach. So what do I mean when I say that? The neuroscience approach is basically this: how do you educate leaders on the fact that you got a fast brain and a slow brain, that your brain is 2% of your body weight and it uses 20% of your energy. The fact that we spend 95% plus of our waking hours in the fast side of our brain and the rest in the slow side. All of our unconscious biases live on the fast side. And the reason why we stay over there is because you burn less glucose, because you don't have to think. I use this example all the time. This is an example of fast brain, slow brain. 10 times 10. Everyone knows the answer.
Yeah.
Fast brain, right? 18 times 46. People shut down, because you have to shift from your fast brain to your slow brain to actually do that math. And most people will sit there and go, I'm gonna let someone else do that math, because I don't want to go over there, because I'm gonna burn glucose over there. So that's why I say the brain is the mother of all bias, because that's where we live. And we all like to think that we're this caring, loving human being who sees things rationally. But that actually exists over in your slow brain, and we don't spend a lot of time over there. We're making decisions all day, every day. So what is my point? My point is, once you recognize that's how your brain works, and then you're making decisions about people along the HR life cycle, the neuroscientists say, when you experience difference, your first reaction to difference is almost always a non-inclusive one. So you and the neuroscientists say you can actually rewire your brain once you understand this to pause and not react to your first reaction. And so that's what we're trying to teach leaders. We're not trying to change them, and we're not trying to say get rid of all your biases, unconscious biases, because you can't. You can't get rid of them, but you can actually begin to rewire your brain. I love this stuff, so I'm sorry, Cody, I'm going to go a little bit longer. The neuroscientists, the one we've been working with, he said, practice makes, and most people's answer is perfect. And he said, no, practice makes something called myelin. And myelin is, think of a electrical wire that has plastic coating on it. the neural network in your brain is actually adding that coding every time as you do something over and over. It's adding that coding, and it actually creates the environment where you continue to do things the same way because your practice of it has made myelin. And what the neuroscientists say is that you can actually, once you realize that's going on, you begin to rewire your own brain to make decisions differently. So that's the neuroscience part of our approach. The social science part of our approach is we've been working with a group out of Greensboro, North Carolina called the Racial Equity Institute. And they do a 2-day in-depth workshop on the history of race in this country from 1619 to present. And so one of our other beliefs is as you begin to educate leaders on how we have become so situated, what were the laws and practices that were put in place? What was the first affirmative action program that was created so that one group of people advantaged over another? We believe as you begin to educate leaders on that, that now you create a more holistic, inclusive leader who actually can manage in a multicultural, multi-diverse, multi-belief society in a way that's more inclusive. So sorry to go so long. I see a couple people in the chat posting the book that I'm quoting from. I still shamelessly, y'all. You don't have to invent this stuff all, on your own. I tease the kids I talk to all the time. I was like, hey, when I was growing up and when you were doing research, you had to know the Dewey Decimal System, right? You had to know how to go in the library, pull those little stupid boxes out, get the card, and hope that someone put the book back where it's supposed to be. And now you don't have to do that. Now, you actually can get on these things, which this thing has more power than the first computer I worked on that filled up a whole room. And this thing has more power than that. So the ability to educate yourself on any topic is, I believe, it's at a worldwide height, and we should all be taking care of it. That's a long answer to a short question, but I love this stuff.
No, Ben, and the passion that you have is pretty amazing for this, and just the focus. And I really appreciate the fact that you're bringing that science into it and neurology into it, because a lot of times people just think it's a motivation thing, it's a historical thing, but we're wired that way. So I really am thrilled, and I can see just looking at some of the comments that are coming in. People are thrilled and really just kind of eating this up, Ben, for sure.